I think the most important thing is to try to instill a sense of confidence on the part of the world that that something is being done and that things will get better. All right. But I think more concretely, there ought to be some sort of coordinated economic stimulus package, for the for all the participating countries. But I think an important theme really has to be the prevention of protectionism, because I think that's the biggest threat facing us is protectionism. And then I think the second thing really has to be on the financial regulation going forward. Right? And I think there are too many things that can be done, that need to be done. But the most important thing is really to try to think through regulation that does not encourage moral hazard. Okay, because that actually, in turn, would reduce the amount of actual regulation that's required. Let me give you an example. If you think of the subprime loan crisis, a very simple change in the rules, so that the originating lender will have to take back the mortgage if it defaults within the first 3 years. Right? I mean, just that simple change would have eliminated a large number of the substandard loans. Because then the original lender would have the incentive to check the property, make sure it's properly appraised, to check the ability of the borrower. And so right now there's no recourse. You just make the loan and then you just sell it. And so these little things are extremely important. So I think the regulatory thing has to go through, but there are many, many things that you should avoid, encourage moral hazard. The other thing is the ratings. You can't let the person who needs the rating pay the rater, right? And what is worse is that you don't have to pay if you don't like the rating. Now that's pure nonsense. I mean, you know what I mean? I mean, it's no wonder we got the ratings that we get, that we got, which got in trouble. So I think that is the second thing. Longer term, I think one really has to think through how to finance trade around the world. Because right now, rightly or wrongly, the US dollar is playing a key role. And the US so-called imbalances are actually financing trade transactions among the countries, because most people still trust the dollar. Right now, if you want to reduce those imbalances, which might be good for the world, good for the United States, we have to think through what should we use, instead of the dollar. Now, I think that's a slightly longer term question, but equally important. And whenever unemployment rises, there will be tremendous pressure, for protectionism. It's inevitable. It's true in every country. So you need a pact, so that we are all not going to be protectionists. Because then, even though cars will still come in from Japan to the United States, but U.S. airplanes are being sold to Europe and elsewhere. Right, it's that kind of thing. Politicians would really have to do a good job saying that, look, if we don't let, let's say French cars come in, we cannot sell the Boeing planes, right? They would be all buying Airbuses, right? It's that sort of thing. You really need to bring it home. I think, and I think all the politicians really need a very strong commitment. And I think the U.S. Government has shown some backbone, right? They took out the Buy American, in the bill, right, requirement. That's the kind of thing you need to do. Right.
And in terms of the debate over the next couple of months or so before the summit happens, what key issues need to be debated around the world to make progress on these areas?
I think protectionism is an easy thing, and maybe if they're really bold enough, they can even say lower tariffs some more. Right, because if everyone lowers, you're not at a disadvantage. Right, it's only at a disadvantage if you lower and other people keep it up. Right, so I think that could be a very bold move, that in this time, instead of tariffs, we are lowering tariffs. Everyone is lowering tariffs. I think that would be a very bold move to really to encourage, I guess, countries in which the banks are in reasonably good shape, right? To also encourage more financing. For example, let me give you an example. I think if you want to buy an airplane from Boeing, the Exim Bank in the U.S. might do the financing, right? But now, Exim Bank might have problems. The commercial banks in the U.S. might have problems raising the money. And there's no reason why the buyer cannot finance it, right? Or the lessor cannot finance it, right? I mean, you could have someone buys the airplane and leases it to a third party, and the person buying it might be able to arrange his own financing. I mean, there's various ways to get around the credit freeze, which is serious.